ga fono nyoko alla balu fa keta passionate walla keta proplikleti bang fem me alon ko be dennim balu walla dino ni buka fonyo ko ni radio be lore nyam pour kamol enlighten kamol sensitize o dino ni na ko le fanala ñemu special edition te me alon ko nga organize nga jeko ajarata le pour ngake ngalon ko mba wato ko no mba time lo kono ba woni fem findite me alon ko be dendi din dino la ngalon ko nu mata jang dimmo mo diam tala ngaji ko alfala fana be radio ko men yalon ka jarata pour ka diam to sifalla bara manke fente ko nga fanya men na manke kamul sensitize kamul hakilo bulandi olu mamman ni fana pour ko kuna ha membe den dino la wala be na balu wala ban hakilo la nga tani londo la nga tani hakili ma yala fana akana ke fente me yalon ka be tani jusolla abe tani kamfalla abe klani fitnolla walla be kala ken nyonne ngoni nyoto nyoni nyobatarol da kana ke sifati bara ke fenti melon kanin kumfa bita anin hakili maya bita anin londo bita anin hikma fana bita lafta ka ke wala nyam so wala tan nga programme on organize nin badi ngol ben yalon ko ben fejang comme modol men yalon ko man kala luntanti aliyelon keda Cheikh Omar Bojanti anin brother Malik Diouf me yalon ko ñul be mo expert led because be diam ka issue menna abe denni fena membe denni karango nin karandirola barabe den fena men den harmadiya nyantola barabe den fena la me yalon ka fana be den ni molla dino la molla balu wala molla sinyo yani na hakol tankanya abe den bo belal ando be fena me yalon ko abe karangole kono abe karan dinkira lelto abe karandir lalle la koto abe karan dingol lel fan la koto so ni membe den ko ambe o nyama wo mu fena te men ka related to wala ni febe den ka fama education min moldi mo molte men yalon ko alhamdulillah ko men nga fa nyama Cheikh Omar Bojang Ameta senior teacher lamati government me alongo over 20 years abe karan government system okono ngaje ko mo sifa ku jamale beje me alongo ase londo kala ba se keno modol fon be nyim problème ko kana men sara jang askeno wol dol jani ka wulu umar nyol sifa be karan dol probably wala se keno han mol beje men yalongo e mantre kite kono bari be affect ni sifa la askeno jani wol sifa ka wulu umar nyol sifa be karan dol malik fana the same thing fana molti me yalongo ameta system o nyin kono karandrola system o nyin kono la jama ma berin jam fo santoto afana meta sangi jama be system o nyin kono karandrola no sifal so ngajo ko nit ñi sifa be kedi nga be jarle mol na fe men yalon ko they are equal to the task to nato nyata jikita ko ise do ko ni sa kinwa nyamale ise topic ko ni sa handul no nyamale membe den nin dino la membe den nin karango nin karandro fana la anin hadama diala nyanto nyin ku sabolel beje so wala tan takku men fana balla jang alhamdulillah mfana mam me baka teaching na but alhamdulillah we are all educationists this is mfana ngine karang ngine studies ngana research kan ngin ko lela kama manja ma beje ka be kan sifal do ko membe den radio la media do ko la na outside job jama beje be ka den fene me yalla ko is related to education because ngine study ngine kara university ningi lel graduate ngana research kan ngin ko lela alim fe jama be den men so wana ngajo ko be jarala pour mol me yalla sifal to wala sab kuma ya bake pour ngol kuma ni nga ñoo kacandi nga ñoo hakilo bulandi akana ce kamfa kuti akana ke ñoo attack fenti akana ke ka ñoo neng akana ce ka ñoo batar wala ka je ko dina karla mi dina ka o manke o sifata membe je ka mol enlighten anin ka mol sensitize inshallah njikita ko mol ye concept ñim fahamle wala ye aim wala nga ñew menti ya fahamle mun na ñu programme bunata amma je ko men dol sa fanya men ala time wala so time wala balbulu you alfa ñin it doesn't even make sense no one day issue me alongo it has a fraud point or a point me alongo even the permanent secretary of a ministry ajo ka tayde no fa idea issue me alongo yajo ko even the Gambia High Court as futano jele mo be ka jaga o ma jako ndinde de o jarta ka chala o ni ka man sense make aske ne yalam but to nya mo me alongo is a rational or compassionate being we alongo to nya the issue it makes sense for bunga ka chala bara be sense make la ni arta ko ka chala manyo nenje manyo batar manyo to ko yaje bara ke fente me alongo lolu abedenna knowledge la ni wisdom Omar na introduction of fanuta back I want you to anu fana mbela fila purunga kanja ma fana fojam English mandinka ani wolof pour ñin kam ko mo be se dengala be se ñoo faham ko ñin ko Omar mbela fila pour ya badi ngol konton ya programme mo yele then I have a lot of questions for you then bina yeah in English and then I will come to Malik
alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاهم بإحسان الدين. Thank you very much, Lamin. Alhamdulillah, with pleasure and dignity to be invited to this very important platform. to discuss about a national issue, which should be a concern to every concerned citizen of this country,
Sure.
to discuss matters, to be able to consolidate and strengthen our relationship for peace to prevail. So definitely, I think viewers and the listeners would follow the program and trying to digest the information that will be given today. But as the moderator highlighted, our aim and intention is to make peace, is to ensure that peace prevails in this country. We live in peace, irrespective of our differences, our religious differences, and so on. So this is the aim of the program, and inshallah, we will do our best to ensure that we enlighten people so that they are informed. Because when people are not informed, they cannot take rational decisions. Thank you very much, Lama.
Yes, I am not surprised. I am also very eager to learn today. Alhamdulillah, I have very well respected brothers with me here, and like I said, very well experienced in terms of the field that they are in, which is the field of education and also even an Islamic studies. The man just spoke right now is a very well known in the field of education. I think the Gambia public education system, the Islamic studies book, textbook that most of the school, if you go there, you will find there comprehensive comprehensive Islamic studies. It is used by the government schools. It's written by Umar A. Boja, and that person is the one we have here. And next, I will allow Malik. Malik, we want you to help us in Wolof because we have diverse people out there, and we want the message to go across. So we want you to, welcome our Wolof brothers and sisters in the program and our uncles and aunts.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jërëjëf Lamine sa programme bi am na solo lool. Programme bi ñu ngi ko andi rek pour indi leeral si li nga xamante ni kenn réerewul ko mbir ne mu ngi happen si yeneen school yi si Gambia. Suñu waxee nag school si waxuñu school yi yëpp waaye am na si yenn school yi nga xamante ni ñoom dafa dee am te loolu li nekkut waxi tey yàgg na. So su ñëwee ba nga xamante ni comme moom nu nga ko waxee àgg na ba high court fi nga xamante ni ñëpp foofu lañ yaakaar pour ñu jox ñu suñu right kon lii dafa nekk li nga xamante ni dañ ko war a waxtaanee te suñ koy waxtaanee nag ñu war a wax mooy ñi nga xamante ni ñoom suñu waxee dañoo isi jàmm ñoo war a wax waaye ñi nga xamante ni ñoom suñ ñëwee dañoo ñëw ak xulo wala ay saaga ñooñu dégg ñooñu war a ñëw wax parce que lii dañ ko bëgg a xamante ni ñu isi jàmm si dëkk bi. Because ñu ñëpp ñoo bokk dëkk bi su dut diine boo bokk rek ñoo bokk dëkk bi soo su fekkee ne lu xew mel ni dafa xew kon dafa baax ñuy wax ñoom ñu wax di sàmm jàmm nga gis jàmm yàgga suñ réew mi comme que ñun tëj neen more than 10 years maa ngi jàngale te jàngale naa from this combo to dem be si dëkki kaw yi jàngale naa si school yi mission school jàngale naa si Ahmadiyya school jàngale naa tamit si board school mooy government school si so I have touched all schools laa naa school yëpp so xam naa school bu nekk lan moo fa nekk te loolu moo tax nag tey ñu ànd ñu fii pour ñu def ay leeral waaye nekkul ne den ñëw fii pour attaque o leneen so ñu ngi leen di ñaan ngeen déglu ñu ak xel ba ñu dégloo xool incha allah lépp li nga xamante ni mën nañ ko fay leeral incha allah dinañ ko leeral ma delloowaat kàddu si Lamine jërëjëf.
Thank you, Jerejef Malik. It's important we highlight what actually we are here for. Recently, a few days ago, we've learned that there are few female students in so many schools that felt that their rights or religious rights or individual rights have been violated by denying them to wear their head scarf, veil, which is normally called hijab. So they felt that they are denying them to do this has infringed upon their rights, and they felt that they have to take a legal way to make sure that they settle the matter to the court, not to the street, or to violent, or to insult, or to fight, or to do any other thing. But they said, okay, we live in a civilized society, and we live in a society that is run by constitutions. So any matter that we have, it is matured, and it is right also we take matter to the court and we allow the judges to decide our fate. So this is what happened. Few schools have been sued to court, I think with two ministries. So it has brought a lot of controversies, a lot of talks and arguments. Some have gone beyond the expected by arguing, by insulting, by framing others, by accusing others of being violent or this and this and that, which we felt it is not necessary. The Gambia is our Gambia, and it belongs to all of us. So whatever happened in this country, I believe there are people here who can adequately deal with issues without insulting, without framing others, without falsely accusing others of being ignorant or being stupid, being nonsensical or things like that, as used by some other people on the media. You ate your breakfast or your lunch or your dinner, your tummy, your belly become full, you ate your juice. You could not do any other thing but to sit in your bed or in your room and say whatever. We believe the matured people are beyond this. We used to use accurate platform, good platform to express ourselves and to also enlighten. And that's actually what we are doing today. So we want to deal with the matter in a very unique way. And that is, we know that some of these things are not new. It's like history is repeating itself. Other things have been happening. A lot of things happened before, years ago. So we want to go back to the history to analyze how religious education is being introduced in schools here, private and um, 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 public schools. And also we look at the issue of the matter we have at hand here, banning hijab or denial of wearing hijab in schools. Is a matter of individual right, violation of right, or protection of right. It's about individual. It's not about a matter or a problem between one religion to another. It's not that matter. This matter, let me say specifically, it's not a problem between Muslims and Christians. These are few students who felt that their rights are being violated by another people or institutions, and they take matter to the court. It has nothing to do with one religion to another, as some people will highlight it, which is actually not the matter. We want to also delve into this matter. And then the third topic that we have, which is the final topic for today's segment, is to talk about tolerance, promoting tolerance and peaceful coexistence. I always say that these are some of the things that we are actually proud of. Anywhere we are, we can raise our voice and say that yes, Gambia, even though if you look at the margin in terms of the percentage in the population, you look at the big margin. But with all that, we are sitting here peacefully, with respect, with honor. We always cherish each other. We are friends. Some of us have even families. This is something that we have, and these are legacies that we want to make sure that it continues. So we want to also touch on this matter so that people will also stay away from making it like a matter between one religion to another, but they look at it as a right of few individuals are being violated by other institutions or other individuals. This is how simple it is. And then I believe that if we talk about the matter in this lane, there won't be no insult, there will be no allegation upon other group of religious group or something. It will not get to that end. So Omar, we start with the first topic. It is important, like I said, we go back to the history and analyze some of these things, how this whole thing came up, how religious institution was to be introduced here in private, in government schools. These are some basics that we want to start from before we get to the matter, Omar. We can also look at the pre-colonial era, the colonial era, post-colonial era, and see the first regime, the second and the third, and currently where we are, so that people will have a better understanding of what actually is happening.
Thank you very much, Lamin. I think looking at the historical perspective in this matter would enlighten many people, because definitely this has a history in this country and a very wide history. So it's better for people to understand what transpired, how it started, how it evolved, where we are today. Actually, this country, as you said, is a religious country, mainly Muslims, almost 96%, and our brothers Christians, approximately 4%. And religious education always goes with the introduction of that particular religion. So it goes together. Once you are introduced to a religion, definitely the first thing that they do is to teach you that religion. So religious education in this country is connected to the introduction of these religions here. And Islam was the first to be introduced here. According to historians, in Western Sudan, Islam was introduced in the 8th century. But specifically in the Gambia, according to historians, based on earlier records, it was 1015 in the 10th century. So basically, you would say in the Gambia, Islamic studies started in the 10th century because it was during the introduction, the first phase of Islam in this country, when people through trade and other things, scholars came, converted people to Muslim. Most importantly, the rulers, they were converted to Islam, and they learned Quran. And literally, it was good for them because it was an opportunity for the rulers also to be able to, administer their kingdoms or whatsoever, through writing of letters and records and so on. So as far as Islam is concerned, one could comfortably say that religious studies was introduced in this country in the 10th centuries. Then later we have Christianity, and when they came, they built schools. And in these schools, basically was to teach the natives to be able to read and write, to be able to do basic mathematics, arithmetics. And in doing so, they were able to have people to be able to propagate their religion, because colonialism came with Christianity, and colonialism promoted Christianity. So schools were built, and children were enrolled, so that they could baptize others to become priests and clerics, and others to work for them as clerks. Because in those days, how much you are educated as a black person, you can only be a chief clerk. You cannot go beyond that. So definitely, so colonial rule definitely, when they colonized this country, they established schools. And one of the aims and of colonialism is to change people's civilization. And the civilization that was found here was Islam. People were Muslims. And they introduced their schools and to teach people. And one of the aims of colonization also is to spread Christianity. And one of the easiest ways to spread an ideology is to establish where young people would be taught, would be oriented. And, during that, you can also, include your religious teaching. So for in our public, it was only included in the colonial days, because that was to their interest to be able to spread Islam, Christianity in this country. And this is how it continued, even to after independence. Still, the education sector was in the monopoly, was a monopoly of the denominations. And through that, they were promoting their religion, because that was the core mission, to make sure that people understand their message and people convert to their religion. And according to historians, also in Banjul, Muslim students were attending these mission schools. They were attending them, but there was no Islamic religious teaching in those formal education system, those schools, different from the teaching of Bible and other Christian doctrines. So Banjul Muslim elders definitely went to Governor Denton by then and request that although their children attend St. Augustine and other schools in the morning, that is good for them because they will learn skills and so on. But something very big was missing, was to know their religion. And this is important. Despite they are going to these schools to learn other skills, but still their religion, they were concerned about the religion of the children. So this was how Mohammedan school was. Mohammedan school came up in 1906. It was purposely built for that. So when Muslim students attend other schools in the morning, then they would attend that school in the evening or in the afternoon to read Arabic and Islamic studies. So basically, this was going, and the public schools, the government schools, the missionary schools, the missions, there was no formal Islamic religious education. Although we have our karantas, our daras in many areas, but that was in an informal way, parts of the country. So this was the only area where the conventional schools were concerned. Definitely, there was no Islamic religious teaching. Now, after independence, after when we got the Republican status in the early 70s or in the 70s, by then Alhaji MC Cham, who was the Minister of Education, according to history, he introduced Islamic religious teaching in schools because the reason was very clear and very obvious that as much as we want our, by then many people were going to conventional school because initially Gambians resisted these conventional schools. Majority of Gambians, refused to send their children to school. But after independence, people started going to school. So we've seen that it was obvious that many children, Gambian children, are going to these conventional schools. So as much as you want them to be educated, to be able to work, to be able to have other skills, but still, is their fundamental right to know their religion because that would have been a recipe of disaster, teaching people, young Gambians, Muslims, and without injecting Islamic education into the education sector. And when it came, it was resisted by mission school. It was resisted because definitely that was never their interest and they never wanted that. And still you can see the same resistance. So obviously for Islamic studies to be incorporated into our education sector, the mainstream education sector, it was in the 70s. And then as we go, as it start growing. And alhamdulillah, today, all schools are mandatory to offer those courses because it is not a preference, but it is a need because Muslim students are going there. So definitely they need to be educated. And the system is very clear that, both Christians and Muslims have right to their religious teaching in those schools. So basically is for many decades, Muslim students were going to those schools without having access to education, Islamic education, except those who will go to Dara after school and maybe holidays and so on. But as far as formal education is concerned, it was only the Christian knowledge that was taught in school for many years. Then when the dynamic changes in 70s, it was introduced. Well, it was also not very strong by that time. But as we go now, definitely we've seen how it grows. Where right now the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education has a very comprehensive syllabus for upper, lower, upper, and the senior secondary school. So, in a nutshell, I mean, this is how religious studies, both the Christian religious and Islamic studies are introduced, and this is how they are right now. Thank you.
This is very important, Omar. Thank you very much for taking us a very long journey from around the 8th or 10th century down to where we are right now. It's very important and it's very interesting as well. And I believe that some of us will actually learn from the revelation that we are made here. I will come to Malik. I know these are some of the things that we want to focus on. And I want you to also come in Wolof and with regards to just briefly what Omar just said, and also how this whole thing, like introduction of Islamic education in public education system, especially missionary schools and things like that. You said you taught in government school, private school, even board schools. And I have known you for a while now in the system. And I believe that there are a lot that we can learn from you. Please take us to a brief journey in Wolof. Omar, I will come to you in Mandinka, inshallah. You just summarize just what you just highlighted here in Mandinka, inshallah.
Okay, jërëjëf Lamine di kontaan rek si Omar lu mu wax parce que lu mu wax ak li ma bëgg a wax dafa ànda dafa mel ni sax dafa ma jàppale tuuti parce que wax na si Islamic education though suma focus si history of Islamic education is not that much waaye lu mu si wax dafa ma jàppale parce que man lu ma xam mooy ne moom wax na léegi 1000 years ago mooy ne 1000 years ago fekk Islam ba léegi comme moom wax ba léegi 10th century ba léegi kon mais 1000 years ago Islamic education dugana Gambia in Africa and in Gambia. We all know the history of the New Hamnen lan moo nekk history mooy missionaries yi before missionaries sax is the colonial masters yi ñoo ñi ka ñëw balaa missionary di ñëw so missionary ñu ngi arrive fii in 1824 te loolu yàggut soo ko xoolee 800 years bu islam ñëwee si la missionary soog a ñëw so da nga gis ne missionary schools itam bu ñëwee fii in 1824 under the directives of the governor of Sierra Leone la ñëw fi both the Anglican and the other missions they came here to open schools waaye soo gisee ñoom school yu ñu open comme ni ko kii waxee ñoom si schools yi si curriculum bi soo ko xoolee curriculum dafa uti ak subjects suñu ne curriculum dafa am activités yoo xam ne ni dañ ko dee def foofu noonu waaye soo ñëwee si subjects da ngaa fekk si curriculum bi subject yi am na yoo xam ne mu ngi si curriculum bi nekkul si subjects yi di nga ko dee jàngal so loolu dañ ko war a understand mooy comme nit ki dafay ñëw ak mission am fekk du la wax lu mu bugg a def si school bi ñoom bu ñu ñëwee then involve everybody dañ ñëw pour jàngale skill ak nga jàngale comme xam-xami tubaab loolu la ñëw wax suñ nit yi involve everybody nag school bi da nga gisee parent teachers association mu ngi fa Muslim elders they are part of the committees and they form a board ñu form a ministry in the ministry you have the director moom moo amee affaire yi jàngale bi so yow di nga gis ne history of the ministry moo amee affaire yi schooling si Gambie ñoom they form that dañ ko form at an early stage since 1914 go in the 19th century they form all those things so leen ko defar so nga gis ne yow noonu doo am ñaari comme sikki saka soo gisee ne ministry bi ñoom most of the time da nga gisee si beneen religion mooy christian yi ñoo dee nekk head bi most of the time that's the history loolu daf fi yàgga ñoom ñoo isi loolu fii nii comme ni ko Omar waxee there was nothing like formal comme Islamic education defuñ ko comme school yi ni nga koy defee comme tey nga am Arabic school yi nu mu mel ni defuñ ko woon loolu comme lifin la rek comme ñu ko ay majalis yi nekk si daara yi waaw yooyu la rek nekk si juma bi jàngee foofu maa ngi am foo leen defar rek di jàng foofu noonu diine xam nga ñoom diine la ñoo jàngale wuñ comme skill si nii waaye tubaab bu ñëwee comme noonu la ñu naxee wax ne dañoo jàngale skill waaye curriculum bi si boppam dina am attending church dina am singing Christian songs si curriculum bi waaye yow doo ko gis si subject si so da nga gis ne loolu yëpp moo nekk si biir waaye ñoom pour ma wax le comme school si ne ñoom seen aim and objective first and foremost luñ fesal luñ wan nit ñi mooy ne ñëwuñ pour jàngale Christian day ñëw pour jox leen skill pour nga mun a develop even one of their aims and objectives maa ngi amee most of their policies here comme di ko read dafay waste time waaye mooy ne comme rek to give back to the community comme tey rek nu mu mel rek soo jàngee physics nga ñëw nekk physicien nga give back to the community ñëw ñu pour def waaye nag secretively comme si ron secret bi si ron mooy ne pour promote Christianity waaw loolu sax kenn bañul ko moo tax lu Omar wax dafa ànda suñ demee ba si kanam paay si boppam suñ mag yi xam ne ñun suñ xale yi dañ nekk di jàngee si school bi waaye nekkuñ di am xam-xami diine te ñoom xam na ne xam-xami diine mooy force ku nekk rek dafa fekk yow sa diine dafa am lum nangu ak lum nangu dafa am tamit loo xamante ni loolu moo si mooy pas-pas bi lu ko angal di wax fundamentals loolu nag su fekkee ne comme nekkul foofu noonu dafa mel ni yow sa dunda amul njëriñ si diine islam nag dañ ne soo jàngul islam dafa mel ni yow sa dunda amul njëriñ so loolu moo tax paay dem ñaan loolu pour ñu dugal ko si curriculum ñuy jàng Islamic studies ñoom tamit ngay dugal fa Christian religious knowledge ñu equal foofu noonu léegi waaye di nga gis ne curriculum bi is more of promoting Christianity than any other else so loolu moo nekk di law ba tey waaye di nga gis ne school si mission school leen waaye it was on the ministry moo amee policies and everything to implement even the permanent secretary mooy di moom war a amee comme the policy makers moo ko war a implement waaye su ko war a implement dafa des si parliament bi and the cabinet ñoom noonu leen ko waxee woon directives of the parliament ak the cabinet ñoom ñooy push di permanent secretary ñoom ñoo war a change rules si school si so school si seen rules si dafa depend on the people living in that country depending on ne loolu is comme like fundamental la si Christianity so foofu leen war a understand ne school si rules yi ñu defar tey nekku ne dañ ko defar based on the Christian doctrine dañ ko defaroon rek based on the community ñu dëkkoon foofu te ministry bi ñoo ko amee woon te moo tax ministry bi da nga gis ne seen most of these seen xees yëpp dafa nekk most of time dafa nekk Christian so muslim génne rek di nga gis Christian moo fa dee gën a bari dan muslim loolu moom daf fi saxoon te ñun loolu leen mën a jàngat ne loolu moo tax so lu ma bëgg a gën a fesal mooy ne que school rules and regulations yi basuñ ko si Christianity doo ne Christian yi ñoo ko fi isi missionary secretively pour dundal Christianity waaye soo ko gisee rules yi were formed by our own Gambian people they put them together because of without influencing the Gambian, without putting the Gambian part of this, schools it don't taxaw comme ki li ko waxe suñu magi den ko non resist. So that's why ñu defal rules. The rules were formed based on the people's culture and tradition ak luñ gëm noonu lañ ko defaree woon. So tey su ñëwee ba tey certain school ñu ngi wax ne is part of the rules. Kon rule yooyu kon kan moo ko fi dugal tey ak kan moo ko influence at what time lañ ko influence ba nit ki su defee hijab dañ ko war a génne loolu mooy njaa jërëjëf Lamin.
Thank you. I'm not surprised though. Thank you so much, Malik. Umar, I will come back to you. You just briefly explain in Mandinka, because as we said, this is a sensitization forum, and we want to make sure that we have a wider coverage, and we want to make sure that everybody who is listening or watching this, you see yourself in. That's why we just don't want to stop at English language. We want to make sure we include at least Wolof and Mandinka so that everybody will see themselves as part of the program. Just give us a brief explanation of what you've just said in English.
I mean, before I go to that, I think I need to adjust this to my statement. Then I try to see how briefly I'll do in Mandinka. Now, we were talking about religious studies in the Gambia. And after the introduction of Islamic studies also in early 70s in public schools, it was not satisfactory, especially to our scholars here, to our leaders. They've looked at the issue and they've realized that this was not sufficient because it was not done properly. But Alhamdulillah, it was just an introduction phase. This is what prompted majority of them to also establish Islamic schools, because still Gambians believe that definitely our children are going to these schools, they are not having Islamic studies, and the Islamic studies that has been introduced for many schools it was just a formality, just to convince people. But what it meant was not exactly that what was happening in schools. So people still want to read their religion. So scholars who studied in different parts of the world, when they came back, some of them were employed or were approved to be employed in schools, in conventional schools, in government schools. But when they went, some of them, they realized that definitely this is not enough. And our people need something better than this. They came back and established, private schools, Islamic schools. For example, the Gambia Islamic Union, Talinding, it was 1960. By Tadamon, to make sure that the gap, Muslim students should understand their religion. Part of Islamic studies or religions. So today you can see many schools. This is the history. Lamina baraka bake komin be min kacha kanja wolem dina karango nata Gambia je nyami anabi je nyami komin ngamin fordon dino nata dunda tinin karango la kana nyola. Ni modun dino do kufole kamin ko lon ka karandi o dino la kandu ate dino la kulu sambono na mal londo soto min ka fo le muslimi ala dungo kana Africa la jamma fa wala Western Sudan ka fo 8th century o musanji jama ti sanji uli jama ti koma o sanji uli kilini fe then bar Gambia jang comme na tarik safira le min fo wolem ko muslimi ala dungo Gambia jang miniad wolem julti arabo ni babalu ko mi kany wa ada muslimi ala dungo jang 10th century ma fa wala wolem 15 kabila muslima ya dundi jang wudmo e mansa kelni mara lalle tara jang ki muslimolde kabri ye tubini ki muslimolti inate karandi wo karango no mansa kelni defan tonya o nyin londo fon betaran to kandu amago go ben dino da mala bare na marro be sonala mbulle je kara safero ke nka letaro safe na ko marla nyamin sa safeno wonata kinna mo jammo jamakat muslimoti jang wato kamo da dron imur karandi mul fana ya kuma sika nyo karandi meta karanta lota mulu tamate karanta majlisol lota mole karando ke fo tubabul la mararo nata kabin tubabul la mararo nata ya tara ko jama muslimol len fuka tare adu bela din kabin fi colonialism inata ye mara inata fa inata dina do nata na miya ko Christianity kandu Christianity anin tubabol la mararol nata nyola anin tubabol la maradol nat so kabiri wolu nata e karambolo kantu tubabol la maro damma manke don ko damma kam maranna kan na furu sika ka samba bara bela miro fanan ko kandu yaji ko tulmu mol dimiyan ko man civilized man kuni waran dino limbembulu waran adu limbembulu la fa ada kuto na lan dina kuto aron dino limbembulu bolem christianity nada christianity nati gambia inada karamolo ruka christianity dum janjandi ya tra muslimu gambe jam mol meta muslima ko mole mole lungu so muslima ko kadu dum na ko sanji mi jamal muslima be mole dino faham pour ça nga dino fudo nati le kala fi ka mol nati ki tubin ina da karam molo folo fen sabe ko wala karanje baka wala be safero ken nyami ibe fon karan no nyaadi ibe kontiro fa ken no nyami kadu ko inatle inin mole bina du ko o de sura ko so do mol gulle mi nyalango be karna kanna soro kele mole mi nyalango fa ni le kawmoy be karne karande titole se mol pour ka dino nyinta ka janjani dara tubabu lo mararo kono e mararo ka meta o karam molto adina ko do dino ko karande jele na karam molto mina ko muslima dingol molto in 1906 Banjul Muslim elders were the governor of Banjul governor Dentin muslim kebal da ka ita ya tangala ko to nyale dingol kata ko karam molto ka karande ni jite karam molto e se kada procura dino lo kantu laftere ko karam molle fekela dino fanam ko kalondi sudo balyake la dino o manki no babola interest to nyabe dami kantu ila kabitol nata e muslimi a suppressed wala isita muslimi akanne kanu ila fafen dole dina dole janjami ma ke gambe robe kan anata dlalo wala ne ka fada Mohammedan school mimbe Banjul in 1906 dara madan tare ka dino ta karande so tara woni ko independence so o be wato ni kristano le karam siada hani ngani min de wala kala dino ni ka janjande so mbole nyama nimi la fa dino karan ne bita daral to ran karan to e dino karam ko min karam bumol to ten muslim karam bumol wala muslim karam bumol to ten muslim abongola ko folo muslimol jama fo be ko son ke dingol kiji kantu e jikita ko ni dingol kiji folo le dingol ke dingol kiji kantal ni moru bumol ko e karam bare labon la man sa kunna na je ko okay bar mimbe kere sa wala mo jama ba ni wa karam ni na kantu mo jama je ko jele mi ka londulu dulu so ke dunya bulu so en nyame muslima jama wakil ta ke dingol ki o karam moto so ko kabir yaje ko e muslima dingol be karandiro le comme se khata bo janyol be nyamol be karando ki wato o kola o ko ata bo yan kola le Mohammed Lamin Touré ñol alama ala e mendi ñata jang bon ñol be so mol muslimo laje okay muslimo be karamo de ka muslima karanje o do sai alman dingol sama mo jama ya commencé ke dingol sama karamo o be kada kabin o kada 1970 ma fawti kabin MC Cham ni encore le marta ministre marta dino la onata ke anata ke no onata ke anata ke luwati wala sa fo ko ay symbole aje kaje ko karambun be gambe jam muslimo dino karande je folo nga jele ko balon ko tala kantu minu balantala o manke la interest kandu ni dino do ko nanka karanja be ko lalati lu bakere pour solata minna molo pour ke tubindi ke sa mer dino do abe ko jala bak ya o kono le ya commencé ka dino karam muslima karam monto fo sa alhamdulillah ni ajibe ko private school ka fo secondary school e sila boto soto e curriculum mo kaji ko sa dindu karam la bari ila dino ila salinya so fi mi alan ko dino ni mari tara karam monto karam do kata nyama e nyanta wolu la min nyina na fanan kabirin ke ba folo tara karam wala ara banko de murundana durbi je du goldi la masa kunda ko de karandiro ke wo karam monto e kabiri cross logo folo balango nyimbi je la kadina durbi je yenta wato min dila pour dindingo le muslima kare bi kadira pour kam do ka tarajile don to da ma ko be bidina karam la ba dina karam sembo ma wara nyo wa no do fo karandiro ko maso karam monto ba na te da ha yaje ko hani de ndol ngamre ngo dindol bela dino karna janga nyamal bare ko keno nada karambo modo gambe islamic dino le karambo tada mun nata
Khalid bin Walid.
so karamol nada brikam institute kaje ko okay ni mi la fe dimo dino lo intalo nyami definitely ñu lem karamol ñako ñu dina karamol le so la min tata wol nyama fo bi mbo kono say min be na luwalo ama kan bi wolem be nyanto sur le pro la dino kare la karam moto wala na curriculum bi ja police bi je fami cristiano ti ba ni tara karam moto imari nyanto karam no je ni la fa karanna muslimo fa tara karam mo karam moto nyanta karam na je la kam do lamin ka kumo nyin suti andi be dana janna folo
Baraka Bah, thank you very much, Omar Boya. I am really enjoying us because this is very interesting. History atam fente men kumata bake wa na han Qur'an okon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ka history sen bake Qur'an okon abeka ke mitu wulun kam mulkam mulu kala mutande what is happening before because sanata ya mandekol kam ko ni me bod lalo ke tad lalo so men tam bita akumata bake pour before kultar nyadi le before we came here document no science and be there most because so many people what happens before Malon know how this whole thing started. Another nyani le munal kita. Most of us Malon. So abu kumala kurung alo beta digest. Ani parang kita science and salon berdia mun nyani. Anu men fo kumata ba. Wala mu mome randa e be fambu kunu yuruata. Ni chuna te bukan ndroke. Ni mo ja rosta ile ndroke ati roka mul akimisre me mabula mansia. So ntol jama be ni wurta ran social media la Facebook live yi wurte badara ngeji be don because me bula mansia ni dollara ni la malla ni ka street ka fitno wulendi ka mutayel jani ka wuro mandi police wala na ni yekele malla wala no you never see that here and malla ni fara ka kallo da ka mo ni na kanyo malla wala we don't believe in that dolla tan no wala londo ngabe men bulu nyimmu ka wajibo pour ya futi men ma so wala yamoyla ngabe men bulu nyimmu ka wajibo pour ya futi men ma so wala yamoyla ma ye tawte ye bulu ya kay ma findin ala dankaro haram tale in islam kitman de buka so wala tan tur kaje ko ni wurol men be ker nyin dol fen ko mu wurla len ron akam ta ko ron imam shafi'i birika kariba nguru kan be fin ko ita ko akam dal ko ron wuro ko fulai to ka jele ko yinten ter furanti min ta mala bula eran na bara be dal fond imam shafi'i wuro ni wulo ya jato ya ka wura ka wuri jato e da mama nya ka sai mun ga jato ne duka hani ni wonte jato la ka jele ko nyin men yeduma so la na ta fona ta ka jiko moment e kala a jabiro min kuma ya ai ke ne ka sai wuri na bara wa jele ko wuri la media ka jele ko nan bala bula kilim bela bunko ne be live video le e ka dia ubar fo ka tare le bote je boro ete be batare le de so okay now in yin kuma ta bage furuna history fa bar lafta damen to kuma ko all that happens here how the malik ya fajang ngalon ko wata men yalon ko some people attended this school some guy they are taken to certain services me yalon ko they don't know what muna moti and that ila parents would never know that konna mol kan sifa ka they didn't take their children to those school for them to be taken to a singing or a church or something ngalon ko for some people were there they were converted. We don't know how they were converted. We don't know what being Nolan. Even our former president. I cannot increase a lot level. I wouldn't back. I cannot be how those are all impact that happens. I want you to talk about some of the impact. Impact
in English.
English.
Thank you very much, Lamin. I think it is important that we look at the impact of these issues. Definitely, majority of them are living witness that they went through a lot of difficulty going to through mission schools in respect to practicing their religion, like prayers, like this, and it's not a secret that many of them still they live those emotions, anger that they've been depriving them from activities to schools. Definitely, uh, it was softly done, and an attempt to make sure that Muslim students is to their fundamental rights to manifest their religion. This for so long, and people have been enjoying this for so across this issue. Um, it was not easy, and it was by looking at the religious demographic of this country, it is very unprecedented to see things happening that way, because in other countries, definitely it should not happen, but even wherever it happens, you see otherwise. But here in this country, you see how tolerant the majority Muslims are going through that. But still, some people struggle to complete their schools under those circumstances. Some were even dropped out. Some were expelled from schools. Some could not take the heat. And if they don't have options, they leave school. Thank God, after when the education system has been liberalized, when the government takes the responsibility of offering education to Gambians by building many schools and many classrooms, then we've seen the plan of that, and this is the trend that is continuing, because by then it was definitely education was in the hands of that total control and monopoly on school. So definitely, you either go to their schools, or in most cases, you go to school. But this is not the case anymore, and people have become so enlightened. People become awakened, what we call Sahwal Islamia, religious awakening. People understand their rights. People they understand. So this going, and people that are affected have been fighting for so long, and they were always taking peaceful manner of these dialogues, conversations, to make sure that, okay, we live in this country, we belong to different religions, but we are all Gambians, and we all have fundamental rights as the constitution. So definitely, still you see some people when they ordeals that they went through those systems, accumulating that in this country. What we need is to ensure that we pave a way that will give us that will create justice and fair everyone to practice your religion, for people not having some anger and so on for because they've been maltreated in one way or the other. So definitely this issue is very sensitive, and but I think it's through dialogue and honest dialogue for that matter that we bring everything on the table and we discuss, then we give people their due respect, irrespective of where they belong to. Then peace prevails.
Thank you. I'll come to you again, and I'm coming to my brother, my personal person, Malik. It's important, like just like how I highlighted, whatever happens has an impact, if or positive, and especially something that has to do with education. It is important we realize or we know that literacy is far different from education. Literacy and education are not the same. Yeah, literacy just is more like an ability to write and read, but education has to do with everything in human life. Your attitude, your character, how you deal with people, how you comport yourself, how you do this, how you do that. It's a unified whole when it comes to human life. That has to do with education. Kumembe Wanyama, things like that. If you education also is another tool for change human behavior, to change human perspective, to even indoctrinate people. Education can be used as a positively, it can be used negatively. In the name of education, you can do a lot. People can be enlightened, people can have salvation because of education, people can have their true sense of being a human through education. But people can also be deprived of who they are. I mean, the real sense of being a human education that they enroll to, and they can also be enslaved. They can be indoctrinated. Their mind can be polluted. But believingly, they self in skills adequately in this life. But you may see that at the end of the day, they are being indoctrinated. I'm not saying that that's what actually happens. I'm not trying to give you what actually education, the power of education. That's here. Whatever we do, everything, especially things, what do you think were the impact of some of this history that you just highlighted? I want to do it in Wolof.
Yeah, jërëjëf Lamin ak Omar si seen waxtaan bi rafet na comme na ko waxee rek dafa am solo lool ndax lu nekk rek dina am jeexintal wala wolof lu mu wax jeexintal mooy impact soo ko xoolee western education bi moo ñu ooyee western dañ ko war a dañ ko war a differentier dañ ko war a divide ñu xaajale ko parce que suñoo wax fii time bi lu ñu nekk wax fi mooy conventional schools su fekkee ne islamic education boobu moom foofu noonu ak Quran nga faa jànga amul dara la faa jànga loolu diine soo ba pare daal imam ngay nekk mbaa nga nekk a preacher soo boobu noonu benn christian dafa yóbbu loolu mooy impact foofu yow dafa nekk muslim moo tax duñu ñoom duñu fa yóbbu so su ñëwee si conventional school nag comme ni ma ko highlighté bu ñëwee mooy pour jàngal nit ñi skill waaye dafa am secret boo xamante ni loolu la tubaab bi they use in our schools te loolu moo nekk di change nit yi ay la du la change nga nekk christian waaye na la change nga nekk liberal muslim mooy ni everything is normal to you nit ki sol na veil def kaala is normal to you foofu la day commencé di change sa mind bëri nag change na suñu mind like loolu moo tax ñu ngi am this problem soo gisee ñu am this problem ñu ko waxee bi métti dafa fekk ne 95% muslim bi 80% are liberal muslims so yooyu western bi moo ko ko mooy impact bi da nga gis ne léegi comme li ma doon highlight secret bu nekk si biir mooy ne soo demee da ngaa jàng chemistry biology mathematics pop FLE yi nga jàng SES waaye loolu soo ko gisee xale bi na ko jàng maa ngi gis yeneen school yoo xam ne every Thursday da ngaa dem church muslim nga christian nga da ngaa dem church boobu nag lu tax gaa def fa every Thursday da ngaa dem church nekkul pour christian yi because su fekkee pour christian la ñooñu bari wuñ soo leen compté si 1000 students ñoom 20 la ñoo nekk for example waaye da nga gis ne loolu is to get them inside the church and to talk about Christianity there is moo nekk is extra curricular school dafa amoon time yoo xam ne du ñu mën a am xaalis tamit for example to fund their schools amoon bëri bi nga ko bëggee extend people ñoo dee bilal seen bopp school oo leen pour ñu mën a dépense school yooyu noonu dafa history bu gudda so dina gis ne it's a form of power it's a form of ñu ne ñoom nekk ñoom ñu ngi try comme population bi di nga gis ne loolu so di nga gis ne tey soo gisee lu moo isi problème moo isi tey sax ñu fa dugal loo xam ne mooy human rights bi ñu ko fa dugal nga fa ne dañ fay jàng axi nit du loolu de dafa am lu ñoo ñëw pour wan la ne everybody has a right boobu noonu luñ si jublu mooy nga mën a ak diversity lesbian ak gay yi ñoom su ñoo liggéey duñu liggéey tey long run la ñoo liggéey si kanam a kanam so loolu yëpp dugg na si school bi ba nga xamante ne boo ne amoon writing bi li mu fa def mooy affaire gay ak lesbian so nga gis ne Sénégal yëpp jóg ñu frown loolu noonu wane ne essai boobu noonu is a plan so noonu la ñoo def soo gisee school si yëpp mission school si yëpp nga gis ne ñu ngi dëgër ne doo def fail mooy ne they don't want to fail in their mission so their mission mooy either suñ ne mënut a christianize waaye ñu wàññi seen belief so loolu la nekk ak waxoon ba pare soo ko xoolee ba xool da nga ko bañ mbaa nga nangu ko rek tout nga xam ne tey muslim ñi naa jóg génn on télé di saag da nga yaxa yow noppil nga bàyyi ñi wax ñuy defar ñoom ñu defar moo tax boo ko commencé mooy ne isu bi nekkul affaire yi ne jullit yi ñu ngi xeex christian yi soo ko jëlee foofu noonu dafa rong soo xam ni nekk def Christian religious knowledge daf ko jàppale tamit gars yi boole ko si subject di si itam muslim bi tamit dina am comme lii suñ ko xeexee jàppale christian bi jàppale ak wat ak muslim bi so di nga gis ne tey ñu suñu problème mooy scholarship bi daan joxe yëpp ñu ko jox muslim yi fine dégg la waaye dafa amoon aims and objective of the scholarship te scholarship bi dina la yóbbu because science ñu ngi ko jàngee ba Qatar ñu ngi jàng science foofu noonu so demee Kuwait ñu ngi jàng science foofu duñu la fa yóbbu laa yow foo xam ne Saint Mary's University something like that you can be finally Christianized or ñu wàññi sa degré muslim loolu nga joxe moo tax ñu lay jooy yow di wax ne all these scholars given to them on zero price dafa am lu tax gars yi def ko foofu noonu ñoom xam ne loolu noonu no free lunch dafa am lu tax gars yi def ko foofu noonu soo dee war a nangu dëgga soo dee war a gars yi def ko foofu noonu lii moo tax ba tey ñu am lot of problem soo demee ba Fula Bantang di nga gis ne Saint Teresa's of ñu ko ay Saint Teresa's Senior Secondary School wala fana Senior Secondary School nga fekk ay balde ay jàll yoo xam ne ay christian so foofu tamit gars yi am nañ boos dañoo ñëw jola xaalis jola nooco après tamit nit ki moom loo ko jox rek soo waxee moom rek di nga mën a am jeexantal si moom so am na ñu bëri tey soo ko xoolee foofu tamit ay christian leen waaye ay balde leen sant ay jàllo ñu ngi foofu in Gambie soo demee foofu da nga ko fa fekk man dem naa foofu jàngal naa ñu taxaw na seen kanam you have to be very careful what you say soo gisee balde nga fa ne balde boobu christian you have to know what you are talking about so jeexintal yooyu ne isi mooy ne dañu jaaree gannaaw soo demee si school bi nga fa ne yaa ngi jàng maths English ñoom ñi ngay def foofu noonu extracurricular activity di jël Malik di ko def mu depict Jesus in terms of Christmas loolu doo mën a bañ boo ñu bëri ñu ngi wax ne ñun defoon nañ lii waaye ba tey ñu ngi nekk muslim déedéet muslim mu'min nekk benn soo si ñëwee into deep issues nga gis ne dina mën a différencier loolu noonu dañ ko daan forcé gars yi suñ ko nangee ko daan boole si extra foog nga ci loolu noonu soo moo tax tey soo xoolee jullit yëpp ñu bëri ragal nañu sax toog sax pour wax ne jigéen bi dañ ko war a araw ragal leen parce que loolu la def seen brain yi def leen liberal muslim yoo xam ne ni ñu dee fight seen right xamuñu ñoom seen islam fu nit ki ku ko ñaan moo xam lu mu saf soo nekku si islam du si islam bu baax sa féet du dee groupe sa féet su groupe nag yow yii yëpp doo dee intéressé li moo tax ñu am problème in fighting this waaye lii par exemple nekku ne xeex between Muslim and Christian but they fight to the conventional school to help our Muslim girls or the Muslim brothers also manifest their faith, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Malik. Thank you so much. I am delighted. And myself, I am really learning. And we had to go to another topic before we close, and this is very important. Or I will give you maybe 3 minutes. You just summarized the impact of this education or the history that you just note where the impact on the people who attended, or even people whose relative attended the schools.
Thank you very much, Lamin. I think Malik highlighted some of the impacts. I just want to add something in English. That's why, Lamin, you see people who are educated conventionally from the 60s. They are different than people who are educated in late 80s, 90s to 2000. Because those who are educated in early days, despite being Muslims, definitely they were deprived of the knowledge of religion. That's why today most of the people that will go out and condemn issues that are fundamental in Islam, these are people that were indoctrinated, as Malik mentioned. So the dynamic is changing. Now we're having people who are going to schools, open schools, being given opportunity to know their religion, being given opportunity to learn, have that right, know those rights. Definitely, if you want to treat those people as those in the 80s and 70s, you are making a great mistake. We must live to the reality of the day. Islamic educational system. Iko coming ay kusi fajimalle nati korenga education system ay kujamalle nati nan kantu mo jamalle tato karamolto ilaftela dinolu balundila e mansom e pata kujamalo sodoli arna fam fodoli da karamolto kantu wato nimmolu to damal karamoldi to lebo jama ni lafa karanna kata especially for high school fo istila karamolto adum e bika pare non ko muslimo dino kala fa karna nyami ayatina jama be ko no doli da dol ko dol dul wakilta e pata ku jama tare hani sa ni wul dul kata fonkaje ko definitely wo kam falu be ko no le hanusaye do karawo system min nati wo kara wala ne kaji bi muslimol ka wuli mi anko muslima bi ngol ni muslimo be nyanto kella wala fanga muslimo kella adu ngata muslima di ngol wato do bi en taka bala fa kan min kada mo jarta min na yalo mo karan ni min na lo so karan ni min na e dal ni min na yole long ayatina kabir ma muslima ya londo suro dron ay problem woni create kabirin ya man sakunda ni ya karan da muslima di ni da karan ay muslima di da karan wala nan gogo mi laba mi karan da wato la ni mi karan da sala kul farata mi ka karan sai kabo 90s kana sai olu mo di mi an ko le dino karan e yin kuɗi fana so la mira nya ka fadal wala ni muslimol fo be karanna kunda mol be talarin fadal mi tubab garon folo do karannal ni say karannal le miro mon kef karannal dama biji mo dino karan dino di da doya batal bar say karannal yela dino lo ko ni mo mala dino la be ka kanu adunga be ka yela bi ka bata dino wala man bata dino kudo wala man pare ani hani la ngon si kundu dino be la pour ka je ko dino ya samba inta samba jami adon hanata ko ba kikam bu nyani hormol ko bi ngai nyami kayro kono o be keka oro nyunu fenne di miyalon ko nyanta mirol kala dunya kul ka falin dunya ga falin ya molle mi falin dunya kunun dulu so dulla molu dulu famalu son den no don baliya kama nin sembe sto baliya e son do tonyin duro minna to nyaabe dam ni go bo tonyin de kilimo la bimbalo kan la londo so kola adu la nyantol lo so kola iko bo na ka ate tamanola ya bunya be bunya momo ela dino ya karan inta karan nyami ko magale lan do kanan momo la fala dino nin tamanda ya tamma tra kayro kono
Manta diamo sen jamba have another issue element highlight wala the hijab issue because the matter with the diam kanda membe kanda is like a introduction we want to go back in history pour ngalom botana mentole pour ngalom bita ngalom botana mentole o sem mako ngalom kamune bayndi na minaka hijab bane ni ngala in schools ni aji be comment that was a time yaje minane molbe stop jang kala dungolale. And I think our father, our Sheikh Imam Abdullah Fati, was the one who was bold enough Kalo State House to address the president in front of everybody. Recorders still Abdul Bulu. Those days, Nimulba Lamuelika Bundala Solim, I can still remember Malamuel Mamuel Lumena, Yabundala Soni Balamuka Konof. But at the end of the recording, Alabandla, you see people crying like Namakeri. Because everybody feeling what happened was very wrong. But Imam Fati was the first. Atile muti me alanka lota. Barako nananga moya lako ngamwe mola ko I try le pour kaje pasula na kata ko la baraman chansor. Aje ko say maybe I will go now to the member na di o ko nyum man continue. Ngalon ko fana yaje me nyato do man dim ko take. Waro so da wato me alanko he wants to alafa mo be bula kala la jal. Especially civil servants all. Mo be kala ta do ko la. Who were the one who spoke against it? A lot of people. Some of them are still here. Because people have rights to dress anyhow they want. And also the country is not an Islamic country. It's a quote-unquote secular, which is not the reality. But free. But okay, back then, muna follow kita, I have banned mo kilna high impact stopped. Narapunya domain I shifter. Anatna ko mobe na kakele. Outcry natna mobe dia. Ano birgo kita ndama skola si jamii alon ko kafujang mo ngalo ko tonya ngata mbebe sonno ko na banko de mato la dawla islamiyya hana ra misal feko muslimu le serge muslimu banko le fanamu bar ko ngala tamandiri nyal manta lorin luwa kam mi alko 100% sharia lo abelaro kam on trawanyam so kanna ko ngaji ko asegen wo ko le adomandi mol man dia mo sendi ba ko especially membe den muslimati bari like CSO activist solu irsalon mo jama dia am ko sifa manyana kake but I wish and I was asking myself where were those people when it was banned and kabra ban wala kabrin a imposter na imo do kram da menta mitawa at that time this was okay the issue ila basement wala go people have right to dress ila basement wala go people have right to dress anyhow they want where was this issue when it was banned Minikadum, don't they have right to dress anyhow they want? Well, that was a time, like in Western countries, most of the countries, restriction ke back kala ko wala but like countries like France ako kala if you have to nibal hijab kala da majaba if you work in a public office ina ba do so we see for France mo meto hijab ko ka problem mo tege but nyata do manding last year or 2021 kabrin of Taliban will not heard from media whether it is true or not kaje ko Taliban they are musul kang it was an outcry all over the world. People have to, they have right to dress. I started to a point, one of the activists in Afghanistan, I like traditional clothing, I will finish now. Now she was proud. Because what dress one among Kalabasoto. I agili bab malam So I was like, okay, where did you know that they like this? It's like when you are wearing your pants, your short skirt, you never realize that you have a traditional dress. So because being hijab is somehow important, you realize that you have a traditional dress. But make it the basic the argument of the West of Afghanistan, what again to go? Muslim, okay, female have rights, they have right to determine what they wear. Okay, in France, don't they have right to determine what they will have to wear? It's the same argument. I have a right to wear, so I choose to do hijab. You said no. Someone imposed hijab on me. He said no. He has a right to dress very how he wants to. You see the hypocrisy and inconsistency. Something is a problem here. Talk about this. These are not. You might be kuti. You metal. And I think there was a time even Fegami. I'm sorry, Fegam. So somewhere called at the NIA because of the hijab. Imam Farid, some of them they have to go to some schools here. But some brothers are here. They were called to NIA because of this hijab issue. I don't know. So you could dealing to fit this country. So I want you to highlight some of these things.
Let me thank you very much. I will start from where you end. That is, this is not between Muslims and Christians. These are people that feel that their rights have been violated and they redress it where it should be redressed. Or they're seeking to redress it where it's supposed to be redressed. And they need to be commended to do that. This is it's unprecedented and it's historic. So let's not view it as Muslims against Christians. No. As far as Islam is concerned, if Christians' rights have been violated, definitely we come right and irrespective of who violates their rights. And interestingly, it's not only mission schools that have been in this case. You have Gambino Secondary School. The last time I checked, the whole admin is a pure public school. And the last time I checked, where it was headed by a Muslim. So it's not like Muslim against Muslim. But these are people who feel that their rights are violated and they want their rights to be respected. That is all. I think all genuine Gambians, across faith should support them to ensure that their rights have been restored. Now, the veil issue is very interesting. You see, veil issue, praying in school premises, these are problems. But in order for it to come to public domain, it started in early 2000, I think 2001, the St. Teresa's veil saga. This is where, to my knowledge, where it was publicly debated. What happened was, it was in St. Teresa's when some students, because by then, the Islamic awakening was taking center stage. You have, Federation of Gambian Muslim Student Organization. You have other youth organizations coming, sensitizing people their religion. And in general, you understand. You have other youth organizations coming, sensitizing people their religion. And in general, you understand that before we are Muslims, but definitely, this vein is before we are Muslims, but definitely, this vein is not emphasized. That does not mean it was not part of it was there, but it was not very prevalent in the early days because of knowledge, and exposure and other things. So this to be to be prevalent, this due to the sensitization. People now, you see the impact that I was talking about. People were not given opportunity to be educated. Now they have educated. They want to follow what they learn about their religion. Now, there were girls in St. Teresa's that were deprived of veils, and it was a thing. I think many people were aware of that. and it went to an extent whereby, boys. It was an examination that they want to deprive girls, and the word came out that we out the assistant are not class, and it was a Gabese exams. And I remember, in fact, according to the information that I received, that very day, their paper was late. But later, consultation with the Christian Council, Muslim government, they were later allowed to sit to the examination, because definitely they knew it. And you cannot deprive them from, sitting to exams, because if they exercise their fundamental right, the exam. But after that, because when they were allowed to do the exam, that sense after the fracas. But unfortunately, after that, the former president came with a declaration of banning veils in schools, which really, jeopardized everything, and has exhibited the stance of those schools, who do not want no veils in their schools. Like, this is where the Gambia High, the public school, they took it from there, and it was very ugly. So later, the president reacted, and there are some schools who hold that notion that it is not the school rules. Well, the argument is around that it is not part of the school rules. So as time goes, it started losing from one school to another. Later, you can see in many schools, they don't restrict it, but still there are schools, that restrict. So time to time, the problem will come, and it will be negotiated. People will negotiate back and forward, negotiate back and forward. Not long ago, I think it's the same centers again. Another program came up, and in other schools, which led to this lawsuit. So definitely, as I said, people's awareness in their religion, and to know their rights, and the mentality of people, definitely what was accepted, ignorance, and not having that feel for your religion, could not be accepted anymore. So what is happening now is, these are individuals who feel that their rights have been violated and been supported by their parents. You see the change of shift. When it started on St. Teresa's, just imagine the parent teacher association, the parents came out and said they did not send their children to put on veils. Let them go to school without veils. You see, parents are supporting them. But now you see it's a shift. Now you see the type of parents, you see the shift of generation. But now we have parents now who also shift of generation. But now we have parents now who also know their religion, and they want to practice their religion. That is why if you look at some of these girls, these are minors. You see the support from the parents. The girls feel that their rights have been violated. The parents equally feel about that. And the support of that. So definitely, this is what it led to have today. And commend them, because when you are not happy about anything, no, you don't go to the streets, you don't vandalize. What you do, you follow the due process, and there are provisions in the constitution, that they cited, and they bet on to go to the court. So they must be commended, and people should not bully them. Should not have people behind them. No, these people, their parents are behind them, and they have done the right thing. And I believe this outcome of this case will definitely bring about a lasting solution to this problem, because it must be addressed, and it must be addressed amicably, so that we continue to live in peace. We continue to coexist as before. We can still go to the same schools. We can, I do not buy the idea to say, as someone is saying, that why not they go back to private? No, we don't want a situation where we said, this school is for Christian school, this for Muslim schools. No, we don't want that division. We want to coexist. Coexist where Muslims are before we go to the same school, but we respect each other's religious values. These people are not asking for more. They are not rebellious. They are not radical. Rebels and radicals don't go to court to address their. That is why if I see somebody say they are radicals, they are extreme. My brother, they are terrorists. terrorists, radicals, they don't go to court for redress. They take law into their own hands. So these people are very peaceful. These people are very peaceful. They are taking they are going through the due process, and anticipating that the outcome of the court would solve this problem once and for all, amicably, where everybody, as enshrined in the constitution, everybody will have right to manifest, to belong to a religion, and to manifest it either privately or publicly. So basically, like, this is this saga going back and front. Definitely, this should be.
Yeah, Uncle Bo. Thank you so much. Malik, I am coming to you. We will talk about tolerance. Please mention some history when it was born. Is it this year when some people complained that their bags were being searched, that their veils were being taken. So people said that one is just the height of it. That one is just so extreme. Because let's say, for example, even if you deny me and you said, okay, wear hijab in my school because it's part of my school, which I doubt. Because for me, I've been asking about this school rule. Please, I want to see the school rule of these schools where it is clearly mentioned or where it is clearly discouraged, denied, or prohibit wearing of veil. I actually want to see that because most of the time when people are talking about the school rule, even though I usually ask, what is the significance of school rule in defense of the constitution? when those people are bringing those rules, what were they thinking? How were they thinking? And even if they have something, the school rule is there, and we get to a point, yes, you may have some people who don't care. They don't wear hijab. They will go to school. They don't care. That is fine. Or probably they want to wear hijab, but they say, okay, it's not allowed, and they don't care to school. That's fine. They don't complain. You don't force them to complain. But you have 10 people who felt that they cannot continue with this environment, and they don't rebel, they don't insult, they don't go to the streets, they don't realize, things. Civilized society that is run by laws. We have to go to the court and address the court, and we leave the matter to the government to decide what happens or what will happen. This is the most civilized thing that they can do. Those who are against this, they are on the media everywhere, just making noise everywhere. These people have lessons. Wallahi, these girls have taught the entire nation a lesson. And they have also vindicated us and made those people who send false allegations on us. I usually say that I have never bothered about it. If you call me a terrorist, and I am never bothered because I always prove you wrong. You will go to the police, you will never see my record there. If you go to my community, Alhamdulillah, I'm not bragging, but I'm one of the most peaceful person in my community. And even the Christians there, if you go to them, they will attest to that. So this is how we are. This is not only me. This is how all of us are. We are the only people in this country who will discourage them. It doesn't matter what's the reason who came out. You always say we are not part of this. If you want to talk to the president, we will find an opportunity to meet him and talk to him, or even to write a letter to him. But we are not going to do this and take and say whatever you say or destroy things and vandalize it. We don't do that. And that happened in this country, either a coup, attempted coup, demonstration, strikes that had potential to put this country into flame. Our people were not part of it. TRRC was mentioned here. China Commission were happened. Even those who were adversely mentioned, when they came out, most people learned the truth. We know what actually happened. Our telling us we are extremists, we are this, we are that. You have all this violence that happened here. You have all this fitna that happened here. We are not part of it. So who actually is the extremist? Who actually has a potential to put fire in this country? This country is ours. It belongs to us. We don't have second home. If this country proved otherwise, it is us and our family. We have nowhere to go. This is what we have. It will take us everything to make sure that the peace and stability that we know in this country will remain. And anybody who wants to be an opposition to that, you are an opposition to us. We will never ever participate, and we will never ever support you to do something that will jeopardize the peace and stability of this country. It doesn't matter who you are. Even if you are our brothers, we will stand against you. And we definitely. So this is some of the things that I personally learned. Because if for a I may go to online, or maybe I will have a program. But these people say we never had them having a problem with their teachers or their authorities. They say we will go to court. You are the one who is against this ranting on social media. They teach you a lesson. You have to be matured enough. Like these young girls, they are matured enough. They don't insult anybody. You are there insulting them. They don't even respond to you. They took matter to the court. That's how a civilized society does. That's how these young girls have to behave, how a civilized society runs, how a civilized country with constitution, with laws runs. And all of us have a lesson that we need to learn, and we can never stop learning from them. If we have tried to give a blind eye to this, or we are out of the deaf ear to it, it is would be a form of arrogance. How a so particular society or a civil society runs and behaves. Malik, I want you to. I think I said I am hosting, but I wanted to just talk about some of these things with regard to banning. So, what is your take on this?
Soko hole every hole.
Reflecting on the history.
Yeah, dafa fekk ne comme li ngay wax ni the history of this hijab ban in this Gambia nga xam ne former président moom tamit Second Republic maanaam yena ustaas yi jóg wala ñu ne Imam Farid duggoon na adresse ko te ñëwoon ne back comme loo wax in the inconsistency in our how we play with our human right, the inconsistency. Get up and say human right. Da nga gis dañ ko dee mën a peek twist ko teg ko fena waaye we another party company of human right ñu jox ko right am jóg di defend when soo gisee ne comme tooñ ne comme Christianity Muslim rek la ñoo dee jóg di defend ko in defense of the Christian the same you see. So da nga wax lu am important loo xamante ni mooy ne right to dress mooy am naa right bu ma solo nu war a solwee loolu soo demee si réewi tubaab dañ war a nag bàyyi xel nag tubaab yi lay wax ndax christian leen ndax atheiste leen dafa am ñu si bëri ñoom atheiste leen gëmuñ diine so ñoo nga gis tubaab bu wax nga fa ne mu ngay jàppale christianité wala mu ngay jàppale islam fekk moom mu ngi si beneen diine bu mu bëgg a puus tamit ñu bëri na duñ lay xam yeneen tubaab yi suñu jógee wax ñoom atheiste leen moo tax ñu lay wax ne mun ngaa sol lu ne da nga gis ne nit ki dem soo ne mun ngaa sol lu ne rek kon ma mun naa muuru so su ma muuru nga ne ma déedéet wax ma mun ngaa sol lu ne bi xam nga loolu dafa mel ni am na lu nga fay so loolu moo ñu sonal tey issue bi pour ñu solve dafa yomb bu président Yaya Jammeh waxee ne mun dañoo def ñëpp véel ñëpp dañoo sol ba ami bi sax dañoo def véel bàyyi foofu la woon waaye ñëpp dañ jóg am nañu jóg ñu yuuxu ko ñu ne loolu déedéet nit ñi dañ am right sol leen ne te loolu président moo ko déclaré waxuma school rule soo ko defee dafa fekk ne warloo véel dafa fekk xanaa nga ñu ameen ko tey suñu déggee programme yi ñu dem ñu ameen ko léegi ni dugal ko fa waaye dafa fekk ne doo véel because loolu soo ko fa bindee school rule dañ ko dee jox xale bi mu yóbbu ko si kër bi ngay rit ko warloo fee véel soo ko gisee kon loolu parent teacher association dinañ ko challenge so da nga gis ne dañ fa def uniforme dafa am lu ko dee yaaxa dafa am lu ko du yaaxa loolu tamit dañ ko war a xam mooy ne uniforme lu war a ñu alaaw xale mu sol kawaas bi si oomam bi loolu dafa bokk si uniforme kawaas ba si oom moom bokk si uniforme waaye xale bi solee kawaas ba si oom bi boobu façon la boobu mun nañ koo bàyyi xale bi sol glove ñu ne boobu amul problème ba tey bokk si school uniforme bi loolu bokk si uniforme it was not mentioned su ne day jox package of uniforme dina jox kawaas dina jox glove ok xale bi ñëw nag mu sol scarf di ko head tie comme like Ibadu nga ne non waaye bii moom bokk mun nga sol kawaas mun nga sol glove waaye bii bokk dafa mel ni kon boobu noonu dafa identical to a particular religion dafa mel ni dafa am benn religion boo xam ne boobu leen nekk di sanction di ko xeex